Hey everyone, and welcome back to Fistful of Feminism. My name is Monica, and today I want to talk about the cursed child. I could just have fun all day with all my Harry Potter stuff. I'm gonna tell you right now that this is going to include a lot of spoilers, so if you haven't read this and you plan on it, just don't watch this right now. Just don't do it. I've been a Harry Potter fan for a very long time, not since the books came out. I was a pretty late to the Harry Potter game, but The Cursed Child came out recently, the special rehearsal edition script with parts 1 and 2, and I have a lot of things to say about this. In summary, if I could make a thesis of what I think of this, it would be a big piece of poop. Now that's not to say that there isn't good things and there isn't some positivity about this release, but for the most part, as a Harry Potter fan, I was just crushed by everything that was contained within this book. So let's talk about it. So there's a lot of different things that I could bring up about this book, but I have summed it down to 3 main problems that I had with The Cursed Child. There are many more. Basically, just storytelling is the #1 thing. But let's just get right into it. First thing, Ginny as a character. Now, Ginny has never really been the best character in Harry Potter. She's always just kind of been there and things have happened to her. And she's been pretty badass in some scenes, but she was never really a huge character, which is fine. I get it. I guess, I get it. Harry is more important because he's the male protagonist. Okay, fine. But the way that Ginny is portrayed in this book is absolutely just nothing. She's useless. She literally contributes nothing, and it doesn't even make sense why she was written in. I will give you my favorite example. So this is Act 2, Scene 2, Harry and Ginny Potter's house, the staircase. This is a fun little scene of about 12 lines. That's about it. Let's just do a nice little reading of this, shall we? Harry wakes in the darkness, breathing deeply, his exhaustion palpable, his fear overwhelming. Harry. Lumos. Ginny enters, surprised by the light. Okay? I was sleeping. You were. You weren't. Any news? Any owls or none? I was dreaming. I was under the stairs and then I heard him. Voldemort. So clearly. Voldemort? And then I saw Albus. In red. He was wearing Durmstrang robes. Durmstrang robes? Harry thinks. Ginny. I think I know where he is. Okay, those accents just didn't even really happen. In this scene, Ginny is saying things, but is not really saying anything at all. This scene just infuriates me because Ginny is given no content other than just to repeat back exactly what Harry just said. So Voldemort? Durmstrang robes? She has nothing else to contribute to the conversation. She's literally only there to be talked at, which happens to so many female characters in this universe, in a lot of different fandoms, and it's just really gross. So that's basically how Ginny is in the rest of the book. There's some moments where Ginny gets to have a little bit more content and we get to see her vulnerable as a mother losing her children, and that's kind of nice. But really, she's only there for set decoration. She's there to make Harry look better, to make the children look better, and just to be this no person character that's just there to repeat stuff. And it's honestly so frustrating because they had so much potential to just flush out Ginny as a character and they chose not to. So great. Awesome. Durmstrang robes? Huh? What? The second thing that I want to bring up is the Rape Culture 101 scene at the end of the book. So this is Act 4, Scene 14, at Hogwarts in a classroom. So let's just get to kind of the bulk of what I'm talking about right here. Scorpius. I can't quite believe I did that. Albus. I can't quite believe you really did that either. Scorpius. Rose Granger Weasley. I asked out Rose Granger Weasley. Albus. And she said no. Scorpius. But I asked her. I planted the acorn that will grow into our eventual marriage. So that's the first bit. And the other great line here is Albus first talks to Scorpius and says, you know logic would dictate that you're a freak. Rose hates you. Scorpius replies, correction, she used to hate me. But did you see the look in her eyes when I asked? That wasn't hate, that was pity. Albus, and pity's good? Scorpius, pity is a start, my friend, a foundation on which to build a palace of love. Okay, there are a lot of different reasons that I hate this scene. Obviously, because this scene comes out of nowhere and perpetuates rape culture right at the end of the book, so that's one of the last scenes that you're left with. It's, again, toying with this idea that young men have to, like, plant a seed in a woman to get her to like them, so it's like this scheme or this craftiness to get the woman character, which is Rose Granger Weasley, to like the boy. And the other part of this is that a lot of people are like shipping this, but Albus and Scorpius have like such a different intimate kind of relationship that for the bulk of the novel, a bunch of people thought they were going to end up together. Like, I genuinely thought reading this, I'm like, oh my gosh, they like each other, that's so cute, that's so beautiful. Like, it's really refreshing to see a different kind of relationship in these books. And no, that was not it at all. I mean, in my opinion, it would have been way better to see a little bit more of a diverse story told with this, and it was already there. The foundations of this friendship turning into love between those two characters, between Albus and Scorpius, was already there. So build on that. Like, that's just good storytelling. But Jack Thorne was like, nope. Haha, guess what? Boys will be boys. Which created that piece of shit scene at the end. And another line from Scorpius is, and you've got time, a lot of time, to seduce her, because Rose is going to take years to persuade. I'm just so done with the idea that women need persuasion to be with men. That's not the way that relationships start, and that's not proper consent. Persuasion and coercion and all of that stuff is rape culture. So this can just go die over there because I'm so upset. I'm so upset at this. And not to say that the rest of the Harry Potter series is somehow like way better when it comes to rape culture, when it comes to racism, when it comes to a lot of things. But this is just like overtly in your face, terrible and sexist and misogynist. And it went through the whole book basically not doing that, so it was doing all right. It just leaves a really, really bad taste in your mouth. And the sad thing is that most people have been saying that their favorite part of this novel or play or whatever is Scorpius. Scorpius is an amazing character. He's really, really fleshed out and really fun and just a really nice balance to Albus, who is just like a jerk and a brat and just like the worst person ever. So Scorpius is a really, really good character until then. And then I just lost it. Like, I lost all hope for the rest of everything. And I was sad about that because the story had potential-ish. And the last thing that I want to bring up, which really doesn't have to relate to feminism at all, but as an actor and as a theater artist, it just grinds my gears. And that is the time turner sequence throughout the book. So if you haven't already read this novel, the time turner is a huge part of this book. which was both exciting and really disappointing because as soon as you mess with time, you can literally do anything, and that is what they did with this story. So Albus and Scorpius, they go through time a bunch and they find like different versions of themselves as they go along. So in some versions, like some people they know were never born, such as Albus. Scorpius ends up being like a completely different person in this like darkest timeline kind of situation. But the sequence, the stage directions specifically, that they put in the book every time they travel time is as follows. Albus takes the time turner from Scorpius. He presses down upon it and the time turner begins to vibrate and then explodes into a storm of movement. And with it, the stage starts to transform. The two boys look at it, and there's a giant whoosh of light, a smash of noise, and time stops. And then it turns over, thinks a bit, and begins spooling backwards, slow at first, and then it speeds up. That sequence written out in stage directions literally happens all throughout the book in that same way. It's just brutal. The stage directions in this whole thing are ridiculous. They're basically like every 5 seconds you have a new stage direction, and the stage direction could literally be Harry thinks about this. And I don't know how many actors are out there, but the thing is that actors know to do things like that, but the stage directions basically map out the characters for you. And generally that's a really telling sign of a terrible, terrible script. A script that really doesn't leave any room for actors' interpretation, and a script that is just describing every little thing that doesn't need to be described. It's the most annoying thing to read in the world, especially when you read it out loud. When you read it out loud, you just hear how ridiculous some of these things are, and I mean, all the story aside, like, there were some good things, some bad things, but really what it comes down to is that this story felt disrespectful to the rest of the stories. I felt that characters were written in such a way that they weren't their characters anymore. They tried so hard to fit it into the timeline that had been established in all of the books that so much was lost. There is the argument that, like, yes, this could be an alternate universe within the Harry Potter universe. I totally get that. But when the play is trying so hard to insert itself back into the original story, so much that it goes through flashbacks and just says basically the exact same thing as in the book, but worse, it's really hard to kind of go with the idea that it's in a parallel or different universe, because it's just badly written. It's just bad. Ultimately, I am pretty upset with the treatment of the women in this script, of the treatment of the young boys in this script, and the lack of responsibility on the part of Jack Thorne, but also a lack of responsibility on all the people that are involved with Harry Potter. I'm really honestly disappointed with this new kind of phase of Harry Potter and what's to come. I honestly didn't think that J.K. Rowling would approve something like this, and apparently she did. So that's really unfortunate. Sadly, I just can't get back the time that I spent reading this, and while it gave me some good laughs at how bad it was, honestly, I am not okay with the portrayal of rape culture in this book, and I'm not okay with the scenes where women are totally disregarded and just bad characterization, and most importantly, I'm not okay with the abusing of time turners, okay? Time turners are a beautiful, beautiful thing, and this book just ruined them for me. Like, look at this, look. Anyway, thank you for listening to all of my ramblings about The Cursed Child and just how truly bad it was. If I could give it a rating out of like 5 stars, I would give it 1 poop emoji. That's it. So, have you read The Cursed Child? What do you think about the female characters? What do you think about the treatment of the young boys in this? And what do you think about the stage directions? If you have a problem with any of those, or think that what I'm saying is totally not what you thought, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Fistful of Feminism has teamed up with Feminist Apparel, as I am one of the Feminist Apparel Ambassadors. Remember that you can head on down to their online website, and if you use the code MONICA10, you will get 10% off at their online store, plus $3 of every code that you use comes back to Fistful of Feminism. So make sure you check out their information down below if you want to help fund Fistful of Feminism. And as always, if you like, you can subscribe and go there and And I will see you all not next Friday, but the Friday after that. Thanks so much, guys. I will see you next time. Bye. Mischief managed. Whoa.